In this video, you will be tracing an image to create vector-based geometry. I'm your host and facilitator, CJ Robb. Let's get started. The main purpose of this video is an introduction to the Adobe Illustrator pen tool. You will learn how to use the pen tool to create both straight and contoured lines for technical drawing applications. The project outcome of this lesson will be to trace an image of Arne Jacobsen's egg chair and clone the object 5 times for a total of 6 chairs. Further goals of this lesson include technical understanding of file formats for different applications, including working files and finalized file types for web sharing. Begin this project by starting a new artboard in Adobe Illustrator. This is the Adobe Illustrator New Document Wizard. If you do not see this dialog, go to the Adobe Illustrator File pull-down menu to New. From here, you can either select New File or select the letter size template, Landscape Orientation. Be sure to give your document a name and set the units to inches. On the new artboard, go to the File pull-down menu to Place. Browse to find the downloaded artwork you wish to trace. Pick and drag the inserted artwork until you have the desired size. This can be any size you want, but you will need to make it about the size you see here so that you have room for 6 total chairs by the end of this assignment. The next part of the demonstration involves setting up layers. If you do not see the layer panel, go to the window pull-down menu to Layer to deploy the layer panel. By default, the photo was placed on layer 1. Instead, we will rename layer 1 by picking on the layer name and renaming it Chair Photo. In the empty space adjacent to the visual eye, pick in this area to lock the layer so that it will not move around while we're working on top of the photo. Pick on the plus sign at the bottom of the layer panel to add another layer for the outline we will trace. Make sure to give this layer a logical name too, such as Tracing Layer. Be sure the tracing layer is highlighted as the current layer. The band should be light gray in appearance. Also make sure that the chair photo layer is locked. It is now time to trace the image of the chair using the pen tool. Make sure you are on the correct icon for the pen tool. The one you're looking for is located on the left-hand column, 3 icons from the top. To deploy the whole set of pen tools, pick on the part of the icon near the white triangle in the lower right-hand corner as you see here. When you see the tool fly out, go to the end of the strip and pick on the band. This will float the entire tool set. We start with the pen icon without either a plus or a minus sign. Take note of what the fill color and the outline, or the stroke value, is currently assigned on the main toolbar. I will demonstrate the pen tool using a white fill and a black stroke outline. The stroke value is 1 point. Watch what happens in the demonstration. As you can see, the white fill is covering up the chair image as you use the pen tool to trace around the object. This setting will make the tracing effort more difficult as it covers up more of the chair. This can be easily fixed at any time in the process. Try to finish the entire outline first, making sure to close the loop. This means that the last place you pick on the screen should be the same as the first place. We will repeat and cover this again in a moment. Let's start again from the first point that we make on the chair. To create a curvy line, you will pick and drag out handles. It's the handles that form the first curve. The trick here is to hold the mouse button down while you drag out the handles. You're doing 2 things at once. Picking on the mouse button, holding it down, and moving your mouse either left or right to pull out the handles. Let's do this in slow motion for the first few trace points. The motion is pick and hold down the mouse while pulling out the handles either left or right. Notice that the direction you pull or push your mouse will create the handle and makes different angles. Continue to pick, hold down your mouse button, and drag out your handles. Let go of the mouse, go to the next place you want to trace. Pick, hold down your mouse button while dragging out the handles. The length of the handles also impacts the curvature of the line. You can make the handles shorter or longer by continuing to hold your mouse down and move the mouse left or right, as you see me do here. Don't forget that the very last point needs to make a closed loop by joining or marrying the first point. Go to your black arrow and select the contoured outline. You can see here, once you have the outline selected, you can add or take away any fill. Ideally, we would want no fill and just a black outline. Let's take a hyperpause here to explain the anatomy of the stroke outline and how to convert straight anchor points to curved lines with handles. To edit the chair, start with the white direct selection arrow and then pick on the outline path of the chair. What you see me doing here is just picking along the outline path to show you the different anchor points. Note that straight line segments have an anchor point with no handles, whereas curved lines have a left and a right handle with the anchor point always located in between. Start with the white direct selection arrow, pick on the outlined contour of the chair. To convert an anchor point with no handles to a curved line, pick on the convert icon on the control panel, and then pick the exact anchor point in which you wish to convert. See demonstration here. Let's look closely at the anatomy of the curved line. If you pick directly on an anchor point, you should see both handles. If you pick to the right of the anchor point along the path, you will see the right handle. Likewise, if you pick on the left side of the anchor point along the path, you will see the left handle. Again, by picking directly on the anchor point, you should see both handles. The next part of the demonstration will show you how to adjust the contour line using the white direct selection arrow. Use the white arrow to directly select the anchor point, or move the angle and direction of the handles. Go slowly so you can see what changes your modifications affect. Watch me pick directly onto the outline and relocate the anchor points along the path. Sometimes when you adjust one part of the curve by relocating the anchor point or by changing one of the handles, it will mean that you have to alternate another part. Each part could affect an adjacent part, but don't become frustrated. Your goal should be to work in a clockwise direction, making adjustments instead of just randomly making alterations here and there. Try to have a systematic, orderly process going around the object in one direction. The next part of the demonstration will walk you through adding interior contours and details to the chair, such as the wing, arm, and cushion. Start again with the basic pen tool. Hover over the top of the chair until you see the word path. Pick on the path to interlock the new contoured part you're about to create. Repeat what you've learned previously by picking, holding down the mouse, and dragging out handles to create curvy contoured lines. Try to make sure that there are no gaps between places where the chair contours intersect. Don't forget that you can adjust the contours by using the white direct selection arrow. As you add the contours of the wing, armrest, and cushion, try to remember to connect into the original path, leaving no gaps in the outline. At any time, you can go to the white direct selection arrow and adjust the contours of the outline. If your chair is too bumpy, for example, you can use the pen with the minus sign to eliminate an extraneous or unneeded anchor point. Likewise, if you have a large gap, you can use the pen tool with the plus sign to add an anchor point and pull the contour closer to the photographic image. The next part of the demonstration will show you how to add the straight pen lines to form the pedestal base of the chair outline. This part of the outline is simply picking on a point on the image and letting go of the mouse. You will no longer be picking and dragging the mouse as we did previously. To end one part of the line and start another segment, use the black selection arrow to deselect the outline. Pick on the pen tool to start a new segment. For straight pen lines, pick and let up on the mouse. It's easier in some ways. You just have to pay attention to where you want to join the intersecting areas. The goal should be to try to get as many lines in for around the base and then use the white direct selection arrow to make adjustments. And remember, you can add or subtract anchor points. You can also use the scissor tool located with the eraser tool if the lines become sticky. The next part of the demonstration prepares the document to be saved and exported as a graphic image file type. To begin the process of completing the document, you will need to unlock the photograph layer and drag the photo layer to the trash can. Notice that the photograph has disappeared. It is no longer needed. For the next part, we will use the black selection arrow to make a window around the entire chair. To do this, pick on the outside area of the chair, hold down the mouse, and drag a window to the opposite corner. We will next group all of the different line segments and contours together by going to the Object pull-down menu, Group. We will now clone the chair 5 times for a total of 6 chairs. To do this, go to the black selection arrow and hover directly over a line. On a PC, hold down the Alt key. On a Mac, hold down the Option key. When you see the double arrow, pick and drag out a cloned copy of the chair. Keep in mind that you cannot hover over an empty space on the chair and see the double arrow option. Let's take one last hyperpause here and break down the cloning operation into 3 tips. First, always select the object with the black selection arrow and hover over the outlined part of the object, not a blank area. Next, hold down the Alt key on a PC or the Option key on a Mac. When you see the double arrows, pick and drag out the cloned object. Do not let go of the Alt or the Option key until you are done cloning. Otherwise, you will only move the object. Let's do a final working file save as an Adobe Illustrator file. Next, we will export the vector data from this file as a raster image. In this case, we will be exporting the AI file into a JPEG file. To do this, go to the File pull-down menu, Export As. Be sure to check Use Artboards so that the image is not cut off. The file format should be set to JPEG. And also check that the resolution is set to 300 ppi. The JPEG raster file is now in the file format that can be uploaded to the web, emailed, or shared without any proprietary software. Whereas a working AI file cannot be shared unless the recipient has Adobe Illustrator. One additional feature of a final file type, like a JPEG file, is that it is a smaller compressed file compared to the larger AI working file. The next lesson will demonstrate how to utilize the working AI file as a presentation using the Live Paint tools.